What's happening? Dontgoeasyonme here with a review of City Skylines for my friend Tony over at Honest Xbox Reviews. So City Skylines then, I've been playing this game non-stop since it came out. I bought it on day of release, retail. It initially came out in 2015 on the PC, and it was ported over to the Xbox One there in April, and I've been playing it. So I think I'm in a great situation to let you know just exactly what I think of the game and to give you a basic overview of it. So it's a city management game, comparable kind of to SimCity, but it's different in its own entity. The game is designed to let you create a city and that can have 1 million individual occupants in that city, all having an impact on the city. So they'll need jobs, they need infrastructure, healthcare, they need fire brigade, they need police protection, so on and so forth. So you start off on the game, you get given a 2-kilometer square, and over time you're able to expand the city. But in the beginning you're given this little square, and you get like a highway running parallel, and you get an interchange coming off of that. And then it's completely up to you what you do with your city. Now, the first time I played this game, I went in blind and I was really clueless. So I can understand that some people might be put off by that, but if you go onto YouTube, there's plenty of tutorials on there, especially from the PC people, and they'll show you just what to do. I've probably built and constructed now about 40 cities, and I'm only now just getting it down to a T. But every time you play it, you're learning something new, and you can then put that in to your new city. And so, like I say, I think I've actually mastered the art of the city making now. This is me. So I've just come into my city. There's 12 maps to choose from. This is a boreal map, so you get the temperate, you get European, which is completely different architecture, and you get boreal. I prefer the boreal because it's aesthetically pleasing. I like the look of the city when I make it, but the European is really good as well. It gives you the option of a different type of architecture, as I was saying, but it's also more demanding as there are more buildings, unique buildings that you unlock. These are from doing tasks within the game. You'll see them later on. So there's like the Eiffel Tower, for instance. You have to build X amount of industrial space. So the type of buildings you can generate from the beginning are low density housing. So like, you know, a detached, semi-detached house. And then you go up to the high density housing, which is like your high rises, your terraces, and they obviously hold more people. The other aspects of the residential areas are the people educated. If they're educated, their houses will become more accommodating to bigger families, they'll produce less trash, but then also they'll require a job that demands more educational acumen. And then you've got the industries you can rely on. So you have industrial, which is plain industrial, where they'll make goods and they'll process any natural resources you've got. So the natural resources you come in, ideally I recommend when you're going into your plot of land to have a look at the natural resources in the menus. The menus is so good and so easy to move. The game is really, you can pick it up and play, and it guides you along the way. It's not holding your hand. It has like this Twitter feed at the top that will tell you what the residents are thinking, to give you little clues. It's very intuitive. Once you get used to it and you start doing it, you'll understand and you'll appreciate it more. So this north of the city there, you can see that the land's green. When you go into the menus and you have a look, it's like it gives you a view like this. So this is for the wind. So I'm building a power mode here. So I'm going with a wind farm, which is a great method of producing energy, but like with most things in the games, it has pros and cons. The downfall of it is it has a large noise pollution, but it doesn't generate the same kind of pollution as a coal factory will, for instance. So the industry to the north is going to be my farming. You can also mine ore, which is coal. You can mine for oil, which is finite, which is really good in this, because with the other ones, they're infinite, but with the oil, it's finite. So once you've drained it, you then have to change the industry into something else. And there's also forestry industry. You have low density commercial shops, so that'll be like a KFC, a Starbucks. These obviously not using the trade names, but you get the idea of what they are, up until the high density commercial, which is like shopping centres and such, and of course the unique buildings, which I mentioned earlier. As you go through the game and progress, you'll unlock them. And it's basically to make the city attractive, to get people to move in, but then to also manage them people when they're in. So here you can see I've started my construction. I've started residents moving into my city. So you have to make sure there's electricity, there's water, and there's the infrastructure for them to get around, i.e. through the roads and such. You can tax them. So you're in charge of the budget for your city. You can raise or lower budgets on certain aspects of what you put in there, be it police, fire brigade, or whatnot. The city is great. It cycles through day and night time, which I think is... I really enjoy it, because it's not like you're just focused on playing this one game and you're looking at the screen. It sort of draws you into the game as well, because you're like, all right, it's nighttime. You see the different aspects, the lighting. It's a beautiful game. I mean, it's not the most graphically... It's not like the latest SimCity was, where graphically you were in awe. On the Xbox One, it looks good. I've seen some ultra footage from the PCs, and it looks spectacular on that. But the graphics, I mean, yeah, they're not great, but they're not the worst. So I would say, for the graphics out of 10, I'd give it an 8. The sound is nice. It's got little like ambient noise in the background, birds chirping. It's got the music on it. It's got a very good melody. You don't get irritated by it. Sometimes when you're actually into your game, you can't even notice that it's there. So for the sound and the music, again, I'd give it an 8. Carrying on with the gameplay, so here you can see that's me putting in a landfill site for the garbage that the residents produce. But then of course you need to be considerate of the landfill, because once that fills, you need to close it and empty it up. There's a pro and a con to everything in this game, which is why it makes it such a good tactical game and a really good strategy game. You have to perfect your strategy, and don't be downhearted if you do make a mistake or something doesn't go right in your city. You can learn from it and move forward. So since the game was first released, there's actually been a patch. The patch was brilliant. So it goes to show that the studio that designed the game, it's a small Finnish studio, only a small team, and they've been supporting the game since it's launched in 2015, and they're now still supporting it on here. Colossal Order are the game that builds it, and it was published by Paradox Interactive. If you sign up to them when you first load the game, they give you a park, which is great because it creates leisure for the residents, and it's got such a big scope around it for how far afield it will go for the residents to be able to come and take advantage of that leisure. So the gameplay, I would say a 9 out of 10. This is kept my attention. As I said, I've been playing it. I'm over 200 hours plus into the game now. Nearly got 1000 G, but I'm not such going for the achievements on this. They've just been coming along as they are. So as you can see, the city has developed now. This is just the smaller stage. So we had the initial part where we come in. I provided all the services I needed. I've then built to the north the farming. To the south, as you can see, we've stretched out with residential with a bit of commercial. And this is at night time. I'm now putting my offices in. So once you've got educated citizens, it's important to check as well on your population to find how many jobs you have, what age groups you have, to never make sure you have too many jobs. As for instance, you can see some of my forestry there. They're derelict buildings where they've been abandoned because they just didn't have enough workers. So you have to be able to take them out because they'll reduce the land value. So this is my city. As you can see, we progressed far north now. And up here I've got a leisure site with some of the unique buildings as I was explaining, and we've got the smaller airport. There's 2 airports in the game. There's the local and then there's the international. Here I've got the sports stadium, among other things, and I'll take you over to the tourist area. So this is designed to draw people into your city, to spend money in your city, so you can then recoup it back into your city and build further. I'll be expanding up there later on. As you can see, we expanded the industrial. Like I was saying though, with the pollution, so you'll get ground pollution there. One of the unique buildings you'll get moving on further in the game will clear all that for you, so don't be too disheartened if you've got a lot of pollution. You can see there the streets. This is one thing you need to learn about this game. Traffic is your enemy. Try to have as little intersections as you can. have bigger roads if you know they're going to be more trafficked. And as you can see, the water sewage plant there, that's where the water treatment is. This is my port for foot passengers. So they'll come in, that's a whole leisure area with a casino and a top of the range hotel. Over here, this is my cargo port, but this is road and train. This is fantastic. So you can get the wagons rolling in with the goods and you can put it onto the lorries. And over here, this is straight up road ports, which brings it all in with a couple of nuclear power stations. And I've built onto that spaghetti junction there onto the highway. And I've put a motorway parallel with my city there with little off ramps to come down into certain areas. You can see the services I've got, like trains, I've got buses, I've got taxis, and I've also got the metro system, which is fantastic because that allows you, as you can see, the railways there are on, and that will restrict you from being able to build near it or on it. But with the metro, it's all out sight, out of mind. This is an area where I've expanded for residentials. So I'm really happy with this city and how it's going. This city is green plains. It's got everything. You've got the river, which provides you with the drinking water, and it's a strong current, so you could even put in a dam to create hydroelectric. And that, as you can see there, it was the initial little patch as we came in. It's crazy to think that from that little patch when we first moved in to what the city becomes, it's so satisfying. I recommend saving regularly. And as you can see here, when you're watching at night time, you see the lights sparkle. It totally transforms your city into something else. I'm in love with the game. I really am. I went into it not knowing much about it. I like my strategy games, and at first I nearly let it defeated me, but I stuck with it. And since the patch where you can now fast forward time, that was the biggest bugbear of a lot of people at launch, was you couldn't fast forward. So I would leave my game, go AFK in the afternoon and just let it play out. But now that you can fast forward it, it makes the time move faster, so it stops that waiting around in the early initial stages of the game. I would recommend not using it when you first begin, but then it's up to yourself. And this is the city centre here with some more unique buildings. We've got a grand library, a courthouse. The skyscrapers are stunning. They're not generic, which is nice. When you look at the city, it does have a different skyline. So the educated citizens will improve these buildings and make them transform into that. And this is my office space from night time. Moving over and having a look around. There you can see the Eiffel Tower in the background still. This was the leisure area I was telling you about for the foot passengers. So overall, would I recommend this game? Yes, I really would. I paid £30 for it at launch. I don't regret it at all. I don't know how much you can pick it up for now, but I highly recommend playing this game if you like strategy games, especially if you liked SimCity or you like The Sims. Having to manage 1 million people is difficult, but it's rewarding. So overall, with this game, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I'd highly recommend it to anyone. Give it a go, give it a try, see what you think. If this is the idea of this game is what you like, then I would say get on board right now. Thank you very much for watching the review, and thank you very much for Tony over at Honest Xbox Reviews for giving me the opportunity to put this out there. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a like or a comment if you want me to see a review of other games, and thanks very much.